Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to be doing the second part of my beginner series. If you haven't seen the first video, go back and have a look at that one. That focuses on the chaturanga and the sun salutations and the general flow when it comes to a normal yoga class. Today I'm going to be focusing on your standing poses and your forward folds. I'm trying to keep these classes quite short. And it's just to give you an idea of where you need to be in the standing poses and the forward folds, and let's see how you go. Let's start with a little warm-up. Let's move on to all fours, hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, and then just drop the hips down low, chest lifts up, chin lifts up, and on an exhale rounding into the spine. Inhale, dropping the hips down, lifting the chest up, and exhale, rounding into the spine, pulling the shoulders towards the ceiling, rounding into the back. Inhale, dropping the hips, opening up the chest, shoulder blades draw towards each other. Exhale, rounding into the spine, tailbone tucks in, chin tucks in, shoulders round, and dropping the hips down on an inhale, looking up towards the ceiling, and exhale, rounding. Inhale, coming into a neutral spine, tucking into the toes. Let's move into our downward facing dog. Chest comes onto the thighs, extending into the legs. Moving into the down dog, maybe pedaling into one leg and then the other. Maybe moving the head from side to side. Just warming up here a little bit, stretching out the back side of the body. And finding your breath, moving into that ujjayi breath, that even inhale through the nose. And exhale through the nose, maybe for a count of 4 if it's good for you. And trying to keep that inhale and exhale even. There's a slight constriction at the back of the throat. The breath is almost audible. Try and move with the breath. And finding some stillness in that down dog. Pushing into the hands and the feet. Hands are shoulder width apart, feet hip distance apart. The spine is straight. If you find your spine is rounding, maybe take a slight bend in the knee just to straighten out the spine a little bit. And drawing the heels down towards the floor. And slowly starting to tiptoe your feet up towards your hands at the front of the mat. Keep the feet hip distance apart, folding over the legs, grabbing hold of opposite elbows, maybe taking a slight bend here. Just rocking it from side to side. The head is heavy. Just drawing the neck down. Just taking a few inhales and exhales here. And taking the hands down to the floor, rounding into the spine, and slowly starting to roll all the way up. Coming to stand in Tadasana. So Tadasana is your first standing pose. You'll always start a sequence with Tadasana and end a sequence with Tadasana. Your toes and heels are touching, or they can be slightly apart, depends on what your body or anatomy is like. So you want the feet parallel towards each other. That's the main thing. You pull the arches of the feet away from the floor. As soon as you start to pull the arches away from the floor, the thighs start to pull away from the kneecaps. The tailbone is slightly tucked, lower belly is engaged, shoulders are drawing away from the ears, chin is parallel to the floor. Tadasana, mountain pose, it is strong. You feel the feet grounding into the mat. Your spine is long, you feel the crown of the head drawing up towards the ceiling. So as much as you are grounding into the mat, you are also lifting out of the body. You are feeling a little bit lighter in the body, but it is a strong pose, mountain pose, feel like a mountain. On an inhale from here, take the palms forward and up, look up towards your fingers. Exhale, folding over the legs, Uttanasana, hands come either side of the feet, bend the knees if you need to, drop the head down. Inhale, come up onto the fingertips or take the fingertips to the shins, lengthening out your spine. Exhale, take your hands down to the floor, step back to your plank, find your plank position, and then move through your chaturanga, either bending the arms to 90 while your knees are still lifted, or take the knees down, completely up to you. Then moving into up dog, exhale, downward facing dog. So we did this in the first lesson. Go back and have a look if you can't remember it. And it's just basically your warm-up. Sun salutations you are able to do between any yoga lesson that you have. It's always a great way just to keep the practice going. And then your down dog, just breathing for a count of 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Inhale, look between your hands, step up between your hands. First coming into that halfway lift with your spine extended, then exhale, folding over the legs. Inhale, bring the palms forward and up, looking up towards the fingers. And exhale, coming to stand in Tadasana in your mountain pose, strong mountain pose. Let's do one more of those, palms forward and up, look up. Exhale, folding over the legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to your plank, bend your arms to 90 degrees, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, holding for 5 breaths. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale. Exhale, 4. Inhale. And exhale, 5. Inhale, look between the hands, step up between the hands, coming into that halfway lift. Exhale, folding over the legs. Inhale, bring the palms forward and up, look up. And exhale, come to stand in Tadasana. And standing at the front of the mat, bringing the left knee into the chest, setting up for tree pose. So your balancing poses, your standing leg needs to be strong. The best way you're going to balance is to make sure that you're stacking one vertebra on top of the other, hips on top of ankle, shoulders on top of hips. So first bring that left knee into the chest, find the balance with the left knee. Then start to take the left knee out towards the side, pulling the left foot up onto the right upper thigh. If your foot can't get onto the right upper thigh, maybe taking it down to your calf, or just maybe taking the toes down to the floor and then resting the sole of the foot on your right ankle. Otherwise, bringing the foot right up into the right thigh, bringing the hands to the heart. So as much as you feel your left foot pushing into your right upper thigh, feel the right thigh pushing back. So don't just hang out in that right leg, feel the strength in that right leg. If you've got your balance here, start to take your hands all the way up towards the ceiling, and then maybe opening the hands a little bit, just holding it there, finding your breath. Inhale. Exhale, 1 and 2 and 3. Start to bring the hands together at the top of the head and bringing the hands all the way back to the heart. With control, start to bring the left knee back into the chest and step the left foot all the way back to the back of the mat, coming into a high lunge. In your high lunge, your arms are either side of your ears. Shoulders are dropping away from the ears. Your back leg is strong. The heel is drawing towards the back of the room. My knee is directly on top of my ankle. And you almost want your right thigh parallel to the floor. Arms are lifting up. Tailbone is slightly tucked. That belly is still turned on. Inhale. Exhale, 1. And 2. And 3. Start to straighten out into the right leg. Ground into the left foot. So your back heel is now flat on the floor. Left toes are pointing towards the left top corner of your mat. Right leg is out in front of you. Hips are facing forward. You want the hips facing forward, so take the hands to the hips, pull them forward. Start to bend into the right knee. Hands out at the heart, and then slightly back bend, coming into warrior 1. If you feel like your hands are really battling to touch, it is okay to take the hands apart. Completely up to you. See how your body feels. Otherwise, bringing them together and holding it there. Inhale. Exhale, 1. And 2. And 3. Start to straighten out into the right leg. Open the arms, hips, and shoulders. Setting up for Trikonasana. The right leg is straight. You start to move the right hand all the way forward as far as you can, giving your hips some space, and then coming down for Trikonasana. On the right hand is to the inside of the right shin, left arm looking or drawing up towards the ceiling. There's one long straight line between the left fingertips and the right fingertips, maybe looking up towards your left hand. Find your breath. Inhale. Exhale, 1. And 2. And 3. Inhale, moving all the way back up to center. Exhale, bending into the right knee. You might need to change your stance here. You might need to widen the stance coming into warrior 2. Your back foot is now parallel to the back of the mat. Right knee is bending deeply. Arms are out, shoulder height. Looking over the right fingertips. Again, have a look at your left hand. Have a look at your right. Make sure they're in one long straight line. Right knee is now pulling out towards the right baby toe, and my hips are opening up. They're not closing, they're opening up. Inhale. Exhale, 2. And 3. And 4. And 5. Inhale, straighten out that right leg, moving into extended side angle. Different variations. So either bending, you're all going to bend into the right leg, taking the right hand to the outside of the right foot, and bringing the left arm all the way up and over towards the front of your mat. That's the first variation. Your chest is spinning up, so you don't want to be folding over your knee. You want to lift the chest up towards the ceiling. Second option is to bend into the right knee and take the right forearm to the right knee, and then bring the left arm all the way up and over, really extending into the left side of the body. If you have a block, you can take a block to the outside of your right foot, so take your hand to the block if it's available to you. Inhale. Exhale, 3. And 2. And 1. Circling the hands all the way down to the floor, either side of your right foot. Lift your back heel up a little bit just to begin with. Hop the back foot in a little bit. Ground into the left heel. Straighten out the right leg. Lift up into the chest. And exhale, fold all the way over the right leg. Coming into Parsvottanasana. Head is drawing down towards the shin. Hips are even. You can even take your hand to your sacrum and make sure you're not dipping into one hip. And folding all the way over the right leg. Inhale. Exhale, 1. And 2. and 3, and 4, and 5. Inhale, lifting up into the chest. Gently bend into the right knee and then bring your left foot to meet your right at the front of the mat, folding all the way over the legs. Inhale, bend knees deeply, palms forward and up. Look up, Utkatasana. So this is chair pose. You're sitting down low. The weight is in the heels of the feet. Again, tailbone is slightly tucked. Chest is lifting up. Hands or palms are together. Shoulders are drawing towards into their sockets. Your shoulder blades are drawing together. Strong belly, sitting down low, chair pose, Utkatasana. Inhale. Exhale, 3, and 2, and 1. Coming all the way back up to stand in Tadasana, mountain pose. Now moving on to the other side. So this time you're going to be bringing the right knee into the chest. Slowly start to take the right foot up onto the left upper thigh. Again, the left leg is strong. You're feeling the left thigh pushing in to the right foot and the right foot pushing into the left thigh. Hands to the heart. Find your breath. Tree pose. And maybe taking the arms up towards the ceiling if you have the balance. And maybe starting to open up that tree. And holding it there. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Again, you can use your variations. Maybe taking the right foot to the calf or to the floor. Completely up to you. Just try not to put it onto the knee. Inhale. Exhale, 4. Inhale. Exhale, 5. With control, bringing the hands together and then bringing them towards the heart. Bringing your right knee into the chest and then stepping the right foot all the way to the back of the mat. Coming into your high lunge now on the left. Again, my left knee is stacked on top of my left ankle. My right leg is strong. Right heel drawing towards the back of the room. Belly slightly tucked. Tailbone slightly tucked. Shoulders drawing away from the ears. Inhale. Exhale, 3, and 4, and 5. Inhale, straighten out into the left leg. Let's get that warrior 1 alignment. You're going to ground into the right foot. Right toes are pointing towards the right top hand corner of the mat. Hips are facing forward. Bending deeply into the left leg. Hands come to the heart, and then it's a slight back bend. Inhale. Exhale, 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, straightening out into the left leg. Open the arms, hips and shoulders, setting up for Trikonasana on the left. You're reaching forward with that left hand, hip is moving back. Coming down for Trikonasana on the left. Left hand to the inside of the left shin. Right arm lifting up towards the ceiling. Again, right fingertips in line with the left. Keep the body moving back. Chest is open. Don't fold forward, shoulders move back, trying to stack that right hip on top of the left. Inhale, exhale, 3, and 2, and 1. Strong legs coming all the way back up to center. Exhale, rebending into the left leg, setting up for warrior 2, adjusting your stance. Your back foot is now parallel to the back of the mat. Arms are opening out from the shoulders. Left hand is in line with the right. Shoulders are dropping away from the ears. Feel that left knee pulling out towards that left baby toe. And settling into the pose, focusing in the pose, inhale. Exhale, 3. And 2. And 1. Straightening out into the left leg. Exhale, rebend the left leg, taking the left hand to the outside of the left foot, bringing the right arm all the way up and over towards the front of your mat. And if this is too much for you, taking the left forearm to the left knee, extended side angle, really stretching into that right side of the body. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Chest is spinning up. And 4. And 5. Bringing the right arm down next to the left foot, hopping the back foot in a little bit, lengthening out into the left leg, squaring the hips off, chest is lifting, and then exhale, folding all the way over the left leg. And find your breath, inhale. Exhale, 1. And 2. And 3. And 4. And 5. Lengthening out into the spine, bending gently into the left leg, bringing your right foot to meet the left at the front of the mat, folding over the legs. Inhale, bend the knees deeply, palms forward and up, Utkatasana, chair pose, sitting down low. Tailbone is tucked. Try and bring the weight of your body into the heels of the feet. And find your breath, inhale. Exhale, 1. And 2. 3. And 4. And 5. Coming to stand all the way up into Tadasana, mountain pose. Back to where we started. Okay, from here, take the feet hip distance apart. It's always a good idea when it comes to balancing. It's always a good idea to have the feet hip distance apart. So start with the feet hip distance apart. Bring the left knee in line with the right. So you're going to bring it right next to the right leg, yeah? Bend into both knees slightly. Start to drop the chest to become parallel to the floor. Hands are either side of the hips facing back. Start to extend into both legs, extending the left leg back, keeping the hip dropping down, the left hip dropping down. Your left knee is pointing the floor. Coming into warrior 3, inhale. Exhale, 1. And 2. 3. And 4. And 5. From here, stepping all the way back into that high lunge, straightening out into the right leg, turn the right toes in and left toes also turn in. I'm going to face the camera. Hands to the hips, so here is your open leg forward fold. You want to draw the shoulder blades together at the back of the spine, so you're kind of puffing out into the chest. You're going to exhale, fold all the way from the hips. You want to use that hip crease to fold. Take the hands down to the floor. Keep the spine straight, and then slowly start to move the hands in between the feet. Drop the head down low. So you can take your feet as wide as you want to. The closer you bring the feet, the more challenging it is. So it's completely up to you. See how you go to begin with. Otherwise, dropping the head down, hands in line with the feet, moving your weight into the balls of the feet. So you want to kind of move forward, almost feel like you're going to kind of tip over, but your sit bones are drawing up towards the ceiling. And find your breath, inhale. Exhale, 1. And 2. 3, and 4, and 5. Inhale, lengthening out the spine, coming back up onto the fingertips. Take the hands to the waist and then lift all the way up with the chest. Turning your right toes out to the front of the room and then bringing the left foot to meet the right at the front of the mat. Again, bringing the feet hip distance apart, moving over onto the other side. So bringing knees in line, bending into both legs. Start to dip the chest forward, parallel to the floor, extend into both legs, turning that right knee down, right hips turning down. If you feel like your bottom leg is hyperextending or your standing leg is hyperextending, then take a slight bend in the leg. Notice what you need for your body. Inhale. Exhale, 3, and 2, and 1. Stepping to the back of the mat, coming into your high lunge, straightening out the left leg and turning the left toes in. Right toes are turning in. Again, finding that open leg forward fold. This time interlacing the hands behind the back, making a fist. You want to try and bring the palms to touch. It's a great way to bring the shoulder blades closer together. Lifting up into the chest. Exhale, folding over the legs and bringing the fist overhead. Dropping the head down low. Inhale. Exhale, 1, and 2, 3, 4, and 5. Releasing the hands down to the floor, lengthening out into the chest first, then bringing the hands to the hips and lifting with the chest first, coming all the way up to stand. Turning the left toes out and bringing the right foot to meet the left at the front of the mat. Coming to stand in Tadasana at the front of the mat. So taking the feet hip distance apart, bringing your hands to your hips. So hip distance is not very wide. If you take your hands to your hips and then just point the fingers down, that is hip distance apart. It's not a wide leg fold, it's a close leg fold. Taking the hands to the hips, lifting up into the chest. Exhale, folding over the legs. Bend the knees as much as you need to grab hold of your toes. So I always like to bend my knees quite a bit here to get my chest on my thighs, if you can see it there. And then I like to start extending into the legs, keeping my chest quite close to the thighs, drawing the elbows out to the sides of the room, dropping the head down low. Again, the weight is moving into the balls of the feet. Sit bones are drawing up towards the ceiling. Use that belly to pull yourself closer towards your thighs. Inhale. Exhale, 3, and 2, and 1. Inhale, lengthening out into the spine. Release the toes with your peace fingers, and then slowly start to lift the soles of the feet away from the floor. Slip the palms of the hands underneath the soles of the feet, so you want to get your toes all the way up towards your wrist creases. If this is unattainable for you, then carry on just holding the toes like we had before. From here, you're lengthening out into the spine. And then exhale, again folding over the legs, elbows coming out towards the sides. Feel your toes pushing into your wrist creases, so move forward into the balls of the feet. Again, using that belly to pull the chest closer towards the thighs. Inhale. Exhale, 2, and 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, lengthening out into the spine, releasing the hands away from underneath the soles of the feet, stretching out into that spine, hands to the waist and moving all the way back up, coming to stand in Tadasana. On an inhale, bend knees deeply, palms forward and up, look up, Utkatasana. Exhale, folding over the legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to your plank. Bend the arms to 90 degrees, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Just take your knees down to the floor, open up the knees, bring the feet together behind you. Rest the chest in between the thighs. And just taking a few breaths in child's pose here. Even inhales and exhales, lengthening out that breath. Just slowing the heart rate down a little bit. Inhale. And exhale. And then coming all the way back to sit up on your shins, just sliding over onto your one hip and then extending the legs out in front of you. So sitting up tall, if you feel like your body is rounding like so, rather get a block or a pillow and put it underneath your sit bones. It does help you lift the hips up a little bit more. To begin with, bend into the knees, grab hold of the feet from the outside. Just feel the chest on the thighs, lengthen out that spine, draw the shoulder blades together. Just hold it there for a few breaths. And then slowly start to extend the legs, folding all the way over the legs. Paschimottanasana. Again, use props to help you make it a little bit more accessible. If you have a strap or a t-shirt, wrap it around your feet and grab hold of the strap, pulling the chest down. If you have a block or a cushion, sit on a block or a cushion. You want to keep those shoulder blades drawing towards each other. Chest is pulling down towards the thighs and holding it there just for 5 and 4, 3 and 2 and 1. Inhale, moving all the way back up to center. Bring your left knee into the chest and drop the left knee out towards the side, coming onto the floor. If you feel like your left knee is floating, maybe take a block and put it underneath your left knee or a pillow, whatever you have to just help you ground into that left outer leg. Then start to square off over the right leg. So you want to be straight over that right leg, and then start to fold over the right leg again using a t-shirt or a strap if it helps. Otherwise, grabbing hold of that right foot with your hands and folding all the way over the right leg. Inhale. Exhale 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Inhale, coming all the way back up to center, bringing the left knee into the chest, extending the left knee out, and bringing the right knee into the chest, dropping the right knee out to the side, squaring up over the left. Again, use a pillow or block if you need to ground into that right leg. It may be completely different on the side. And then folding over the left leg, maybe using a strap or a t-shirt, or just holding onto the left foot with your hands and folding all the way over the left leg. Inhale. Exhale 2 and 3 and 4, and 5. Inhale, moving all the way back up to center, bringing the right knee into the chest, bring the left knee into the chest, and then slowly start to extend the legs out to the sides. Again, take a block if you feel like your spine is rounding. Rather take a block so that you can get the hips moving forward, lifting up into the chest, flexing into the feet, starting to move the hands forward, either taking your head down to the floor or your chest down to the floor. Open leg forward fold, inhale. Exhale, 1. And 2, try and keep the knees moving back and up towards the ceiling. Don't feel like the legs are rolling in. Move the knees back. Exhale. Inhale, 4. Inhale. And exhale, 5. Slowly making your way all the way back up. Bending into the legs. Bring the knees all the way back into the chest. And then slowly rolling yourself all the way down onto your back, one vertebra at a time, bringing the knees into the chest, opening up the arms and dropping the knees all the way over to the left, and looking over your right shoulder, just finding that nice twist. And bringing the knees back into the chest, dropping them all the way over to the right, looking over the left shoulder. And bringing the knees into the chest. Tucking the knees into the chest, wrapping hold or grabbing hold of the shins with your hands. And bringing the head all the way up into the knees, really squashing everything in. And then release yourself down onto the mat, setting up for a Shavasana, taking some time out, just relaxing yourself onto the mat, maybe playing a bit of music for a few minutes. So that class was basically a very simple version of standing poses and some forward folds. As we move through the series, there will be different standing poses, variations of standing poses, twisted standing poses, which we will get to when we come to twists and inversions and more forward folds. So as we move along the series, hopefully you'll get a broad idea of what each pose is supposed to be like or how it's supposed to feel, just using different variations of that pose. Thank you for joining me, and please subscribe if you want to get more notifications, or as soon as a new video comes out, you'll be able to be the first one to know. Namaste.